Hey man, KPA, they just came up with the blowout win against CNSS, and let's just talk about this. So this is the second time they're playing against CNSS, and they played last year in the fourth game. KPA played in the fourth game against CNSS, and they won that game by 10 points. But this one was just a blowout. It was just a one-sided beatdown, and I saw this one-sided beatdown at the start of the second quarter because that's when KPA just pulled away completely, and they shot pretty well. They shot 40% from the field, 41% on two-point field goals, 36% from deep, and 75% from the line. So they had a decent performance. They out-rebounded CNSS 55-37. 38 defensive rebounds, 17 offensive boards. So you can see even the offensive boards, they're getting them second chance points. But one thing that was really shocking that I saw in this game was the turnovers. Both teams had 30 plus turnovers. KP had 33 turnovers. This is actually one of the things that I keep mentioning in videos in reference to KPA. As much as even they win games or even lose games, in this case they won a game and they've blown out a team like by a lot of points, but they're north of even 25 points. They really struggle to take care of the basketball. They don't know how to take care of the basketball. If they were much more careful and they made sure to be able to like take care of the basketball, it would be much better, because you could see 33 turnovers for CNSS and 32 turnovers for KPA. So I didn't like the turnovers. I feel like both KPA and Equity need to take care of the ball, but in this case, we're talking about KPA. They need to take care of the basketball. They dished out the rock with 24 assists. They got 7 steals, and they didn't lead in blocks. And the fouls bug, like they fouled a lot of times, like 24 fouls. This one thing that I don't really like seeing. But from points from turnovers, because CNSS had like a lot of turnovers. They had like 33 turnovers. So points from turnovers, 32 points from turnovers, 15 fast break points, 19 second chance points, 36 points in the paint, and points from the bench 21. So this is actually quite decent. The biggest lead that KP had was 36, and 20-0 scoring run, and there were 7 lead changes, and those lead changes happened majority of the time in the first quarter. So there were no lead changes in at the start of the second quarter like that, and throughout the rest of the game, because KPA just had like a very long scoring barrage, and this was the debut for like some imports. We've got Antoinette Bannister. She played 8 minutes. She showed up with 3 points. She only made 1 field goal and 1 free throw attempt, and she had 2 turnovers. So she had a dud, debut. This was not even a good debut, and given the fact that KPO are just winning in there, you could see there was no need for her to be able to like even play in there, because they were up on them points. There was no need. And Natalie, 25 minutes played, 8 points, 2 of 6. She had 7 assists. She had 4 personal fouls and 6 turnovers. So even despite the win, you could see she's actually quite inefficient, and she's been like this for the longest time. So this is actually no surprise. We've got Becky, 9 minutes played, 3 points, 1 for 1 from the line, and 1 from 3. So she didn't appear much scoring wise, but she didn't have a lot of minutes like that. Then we've got Belinda Korth. She had 7 minutes on 16 minutes played, 7 points in 16 minutes played. But the top scorers were Madina Okot. She carried the game. She had 20 points and 18 rebounds, and she had 6 steals and a block. But those 5 turnovers and 2 personal fouls. But those 5 turnovers were like they were very sad. I didn't like the way she was turning over the ball like that, because it wasn't a good look at all. And Victoria Reynolds, despite a lot of not many players scoring 10 points or more, her and Medina were able to score 20, north of 20 points. So Victoria Reynolds, she played 29 minutes, north of 30 minutes, 23 points, 60% shooting, 5 for 5 from the line, and from downtown she made 6 of 8, so she was 75%. So she was very good and a very reliable option, especially from downtown. And she was 6 for 10 on field goals. But on 2 point field goals, she was 0 for 2. So yeah, I mean that's that. And given like the way she was knocking down the three ball, that was actually quite necessary because without production from deep, it will not be a good look. Because if you take away her production on three, the team really struggles because there's no clear-cut three-point shooter. You don't expect Natalie to hit threes. She doesn't. She rarely knocks down like half of her threes. And if you look at even Hilda Luvandwa, she had 0 points actually. She was a non-factor on offense and defense, and I can say she did absolutely nothing. She only had the only meaningful stat she had was that one steal and that one rebound. She had two personal fouls and two turnovers, so she had a dud game, and she was given north of like 14, 15 minutes. So she did nothing there. On field goals, I can say she didn't know even how to even to shoot. She didn't even know where she was supposed to take her shots. She relied on the three, it wasn't working, and she didn't find a way on offense. And I honestly feel some players should just stick to 3x3 because their production is weak. Look at Rita Oluoch. She's zero. She's listed as a DNP right now. She didn't even play anything. She didn't play a lick of basketball. Silena Okumu, 16 minutes played, 2 points, 104, 25% shooting from the field. I mean, only 4 assists. She had 3 personal fouls, 1 turnover. I mean, virtually unplayable. There are some players that are just unplayable. We've got Diana, Pierre. She played 26 minutes, 8 points, 50% shooting from the field. I mean, if you play north of like 20 minutes, there's some expectations that need to be met. You need to at least, even if you're not gonna, score the basketball much, you need to be able to like appear in the other columns. Are you rebounding? Are you assisting the ball? Are you taking part in, steals? That's one thing that I look at, because you can have a player playing heavy minutes, but you can see her production is nil. So you're just playing smart cardio. So I saw a lot of players playing smart cardio, starting off with like the imports. The imports, except Victoria Reynolds, they were actually quite productive. I saw Aminata. She didn't have a good game at all. She had 5 turnovers. She couldn't even get a feel for the ball. And she had 4 steals. That was actually good. And 8 assists, by the way. So she's actually quite productive. Even given like she didn't score as much, you could see on the other side of the basketball, she was good. Outside of Aminata and Victoria, all the other imports were useless. They were virtually unplayable. And even the players that are already on the roster, I mean, I must say, it's only Medina that showed that she knew what she was supposed to do, and she knew the role that she was taking, because on offensive boards she was grabbing them, but she didn't know how to take care of the basketball. She had 4 turnovers. I mean, Victoria Reynolds, as much as she scored 23 points, she had 4 turnovers in there, which was expected because, some things happen in the game. But I would accept if you have like, a lot of points and you're trying to, facilitate, the turnovers are inevitable. But a player like Natalie, she doesn't score as much, 2 of 6 from the field. She had 6 turnovers. Her playmaking is poor. And even in assists, you can see she tried in the assists, but you could see on personal fouls and turnovers just took her out of the game. So those are one of those things that I look at, and I hope the KPA staff and coaching staff and even the players have time to look at the stat sheet, because I'll make sure to highlight these things, because there are players who are not supposed to be on the roster. Like Hilda, she should have just taken like a vacation and just stayed home and just enjoyed and rode that wave of like the 3x3. And also Natalie, I think Medina was the only one who needed to be there, because without Medina, I mean, that this team had virtually no size. But given like the production that these 2 players had, Natalie and Hilda, I can say you never know. But Hilda was the most inefficient, and I must say she was virtually unplayable in this game. And even looking at team-wise, you can see shooting 40% from the field on 67 attempts, only sink 27. That's sad. On 3, 7 of 19. I mean, you didn't take high-volume threes, but majority of the threes were being made by Victoria, and only Natalie only made 1 3. So we don't even have a clear-cut shooter. So that's one thing that KPA need to look at. And also getting these imported players involved. Like I expect to see Antoine Bannister to be able to at least help in the game, because you cannot be carried by other players like that. And you're an import, and I know KPA have spent significant money, and I know the front office of KPA have to justify why they brought you on the roster. So you can't just be brought on the team and you just, doing nothing. So as much as there was the win there was, and there was a blowout, I must say, players need to pull off their weight. Players need to, show like their value. Some of the players in here did not show their value at all. Antoine Bannister did not show her value. I must say, even the role players, I expected to see like someone like Natalie, because she was riding the wave of the 3x3, to be able to like even show something that she can actually do something, given that situation in 3x3. But 3x3 and 5x5 are very different. So given like that situation, her half court should have been decent, but it's still the same old. She has done nothing. She has done absolutely nothing. Her basketball plays are still the same. It's unfortunate because I'm just seeing, KBF plays, even Zone 5 plays being played here. And even despite the win, they will not work when you meet other good teams. So given like CNSS are not a good team, if they could carry on like this, they might end up losing the way Equity lost to Interclub. When they meet a team that has the ability to beat them and beat them badly, they can lose it, because you saw what Interclub did to the Equity Hawks, and the Equity Hawks were able to bounce back in the second game. And you could see KPA, they started off very strong, but despite even the strong start, you're seeing like some players have had like a piss poor performance individually. I know basketball is a team sport, but individually their value is being questioned, because you cannot just score like 3 points, 2 points, go scoreless like that, given the fact that you have played north of like 8 minutes and you can only provide 3 points. I know it's a team sport, but you have to find a way to be able to like free up and be open. So that's actually my concern, because man, if this carries on, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to like even gauge the overall performance, because the next time KP are going to match up against Customs, which is a team that RAG dispatched. I believe the RAG dispatched Customs, but it is what it is. It's another team that it's the University of Douala that dispatched Customs. So RAG is in a different team, they're in a different group. But honestly, given like the way our Kenyan teams are looking, I am quite I'm not like that convinced, because I know they're coming off a high from Zone 5. But given like the way we are looking, I'm not that convinced like that, because if we are not able to like show up in the basketball games and have like our top players like play well, it can be a bottleneck to like even when facing an elite team, because in an elite team all the offense and defense, all the offensive and defensive players need to be running on all cylinders. And given the fact that KPA have a defensive identity, I don't think it will be prudent if you don't activate that against an elite team, because majority of the time when I see Coach Ojuku coach KPA team in continental basketball, the team is so wide open. Teams are able to, if KPA meet a team that has an elite guard, they get dismantled and they get deconstructed easily. So that's one thing that I've seen, and hopefully they can make that adjustment, because not knowing a clear cut number 1, number 2, number 3 option, and having other players just play scrappy is not a good strategy to win a basketball game. So given like this performance, I believe Victoria Reynolds should be the number 1 option. The team should look at her, not even teams, like the players should look at her as the number 1 option, and Medina is number 2 as the one who's supposed to clear out the boards, and Natalie should even embrace her role as a facilitator and limit the turnovers and make sure to get the other players involved. That is finding Hilda for the open 3. That's one thing that needs to happen. Using Rita Oloch at the front court, that's something I feel like should happen, because she should have at least gotten some minutes, because the team was up huge, and at least getting her inside there and getting her to get a feel for the game there's something that is needed. But one thing that is actually quite conflicting that I've seen even in recent times with KPA is the point guard position. Natalie, she holds the point majority of the time, and given like the way she brings the ball up court, you never know what to expect from her. It's either she's going to pass the ball and just just walk around the perimeter, do nothing. You don't see like her actively like moving without the basketball. So I've seen a lot of film to tell you that, and I've seen a lot of times when it happens, especially when you're playing a very close game, she can be unplayable at some point because she doesn't move off ball as much. And Victoria Reynolds, she tries her best to be able to like get open and get those threes. And she's a much more of an active scorer in the team, because without her, I don't think KPA still have a chance. Even with the new acquisition of Antoine Bannister, who you don't even know what she can produce. We are yet to see that. This was her debut game. I was expecting at least, a convincing performance, at least 15 to like 17 points in there, a few assists in there, just trying to show like she's of value. We didn't get to see that. Even with the blowout, it's like you're being carried, and it's something that I don't understand, honestly. But given like the way the tournament is progressing, I know it's the first game, but as the tournament progresses, we'll get to know like who is the clear cut go-to scorer. Right now it's Victoria Reynolds, because without her I don't think KPA will be surviving right there, especially with her scoring the three ball, something that KPA really struggled with. And with that, man, I mean, I'm just waiting to see like the next games. I know we're just gearing up towards like watching a lot of KPA basketball and equity basketball in this week, and also halfway next week. So stay tuned to more content of this nature. And yeah, man, I'm out. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you can get notified on every video that I post. Without further ado, I'm out, man. Peace.